a quick hello to everyone who's joined us from the waiting room, and a thank you for joining us today. So just like to do a quick bit of housekeeping before we get started. So polite request, please, to keep cameras and microphones off. Quite ironically, because we have a few technical issues of our own, but that is to minimise any further technical issues. Also, can polite request to, if you have activated any AI note-taking software, could you please deactivate, as we need to get the audience's or participants permission for that one, and we don't have it. So that's my sort of polite requests completed. Also to let you know that the session is accredited by the CII for CPD purposes, so you can add this onto your learning logs if it meets with your development needs. And also, so I'm going to hand over to James in a minute, who will introduce the session. It's also a request, even though we will be playing a recording of part of it, please, as we go along, if you've got questions, please pop them in the chat, because we will have a Q&A session at the end. And I think that's most of my introductions done. So yeah, so I'm very happy to introduce in person James McTavish, from the Ordnance Survey, and will be delivering both in person and via the recording our session on making safe insurance decisions with Ordnance Survey data. So I'll hand over to James to do a quick intro and to reassure you that he is real.
I'm a real person. Thanks ever so much, Alison. Thank you, guys. Yeah. At his governance map factory, which you'll hear in the recording, we do many things well. Zoom not necessarily is one of them. We have a few technical issues with Zoom. So as soon as I saw the Zoom link come across, I thought, oh, hang on, maybe sharing my screen might be difficult here. So I put my heads together with the MGA and gave you a lovely recording of this particular session, where we will dive into what we believe is the key to making safer insurance decisions with Ordnance Survey data. So you may see a doppelganger, you may see two of me, because my recording is also there, little box on the top right, and me in person. And at the end of this recording, which is about 25 minutes long, includes a demo from my colleague Rob Wingfield, just about how our data is used and brought to life a little bit. I will be available in person to answer any questions you may have. So apologies, it's not live, but it's still a very good effort, and I think the playing itself will be much smoother as well, given you can never tell what my connectivity is going to be like on the day. So without further ado, if Alison is prepared to press play, I will switch my corporeal, my live camera off, and you will see a lovely little backdrop map with me in the corner there, ready to guide you through.
Okay, thank you. I will start the recording.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is James McTavish, and I'm responsible for our wonderful reseller license partners here at Ordnance Survey, His Majesty's official map factory. Nearly all the reseller license partners I manage consider financial services as their principal market, be it insurance and underwriting, brokering, claims management, or improved customer onboarding. I've spent a fair amount of time within the sector itself through the lens of Ordnance Survey data and its applications via our partner solutions, and I've grown to appreciate the importance of sound location data when it comes to making safe and improved insurance decisions. But we're constantly learning, both from the partners that provide the solutions and you as the end users. So I hope the next 15 or 20 minutes or so offers some insight into what Ordnance Survey does to support you, the role I've seen geodata play, we've seen geodata play, and perhaps a little bit of the art of the possible. And just to rest assured, if my voice and slides get a bit too monotonous and dull, thankfully I'm joined by Mr. Robert Wingfield, right at the end, Senior Geospatial Consultant, who can help make my words come alive with some exciting visual demos. Maps are always more interesting when you're looking at them, trust me. So today we will look to cover, firstly, who is Ordnance Survey? Many will know our brand, but what we actually do, perhaps not so much. It's our view of financial services. As stressed, this is what I've learned about the adoption of our data via partnerships over the years, and always open to new thoughts and proposals. Making safer insurance decisions. Again, how we've seen geodata make a big difference across multiple facets of insurance, but by no means exhaustive. Quick demo by Mr. Wingfield himself, OS National Geographic Database, you'll hear that a lot. Addressing buildings data the focus, bringing the data to life. Quick summary together with some takeaways, given we're always open to learning, we are government after all, we're great listeners, and a live Q&A on air if we've got time. So what is Ordnance Survey? Well, at His Majesty's Map Factory, we do like things that are pretty, don't we? Pretty, pretty, pretty. Look at all those images. Lovely. You'll no doubt reach one of our orange or pink maps. They're officially called Explorer or Land Ranger, 1 to 25k or 1 to 50k for the more geo-savvy. Get them in Waterstones, W.H. Smith, maybe even online from a map shop. Discounts are available, do just ask me. This will be when you go out and about for a long walk, a ramble, an exploration exercise to immerse yourself in nature. Go mountain biking, hiking, rambling, find a colony of puffins or endangered greater crested newt, something very, very nice indeed. However, this poses a bit of a risk and a problem when it comes to speak to you a lot. Why are we speaking to insurers and MGAs about risk? Well, so much so that when I recently attended the annual Association of British Insurers, ABI event, earlier in the year, despite being flanked by two very prestigious partners in IDOX and Experian, we got this response. My favourite quotes. I always take my Ordnance Survey maps with me whenever I go on holiday to the Norfolk Broads. Good for you. I love Ordnance Survey maps. What's the name of the orange one you do? Perfect for walking. Saw you on BBC's The One Show. You have really old maps, don't you? My children use your maps as scouts, and my favourite. In my divorce, I insisted that I keep my collection of Ordnance Survey Explorer maps. They look so good on my shelf. Fabulous. However, if I was to ask you all how much the paper consumer map business makes up of our overall revenue, you'd be forgiven for thinking it takes the lion's share. Yeah. Well, no, not at all, actually. Only 5% of it is this pretty stuff. The remaining 95% is all put towards our tireless support of business and government and their reliance on the accuracy of current geodata. Everything from local central government, utilities, infrastructure, energy and construction. So this is us. This is really us. We are the Location Data Authority for Great Britain, dedicated to providing the most current and most accurate geodata capture for all of England, Scotland and Wales. And we've been doing it a long time, thanks to Napoleon. We were set up back in 1791. Our owners back then, of course, were the British Army. We're now part of DSIT, the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology. Being part of government, no surprise that the public sector plays a crucial role for us. 8 billion worth of economic value provided last year to our collective government terms. This is called the Public Sector Geospatial Agreement, or the PSGA. That overall figure of 186.8 million revenue you see there, generated last fiscal, it had a 50-50 weighting in balance between public and private sector, as well as our ubiquitous consumer maps. Both these private and public sector bodies making use of our star product capture, that's the National Geographic Database, or NGD for short, I'm told you'd be hearing a bit of it. Over 600 million points of geographical capture. Put it short, if you can see it, bump into it, fall down it, trip over it, or likely capture it. So the sectors. I've mentioned our important role in supporting the public sector, everything from blue light organisations being able to find an address quickly, to routing bin collections effectively, to streamline infrastructure management, both local and central government level. Other key sectors, I'm sure, will come as no surprise. The energy and telecoms companies maintaining sites, to conveyancing and property construction, land and property markets, to efficient logistics and routing, time management, and associated efficiencies, all through reliable geodata. Finally, the reason for us being here today, financial services, everything from locating a customer's address, confirming said address, assessing a property or plot, and analysing those pesky risks and perils. I've mentioned our partners a few times already. It's my background, but really going to have to emphasise this. We can't do this without them. We pride ourselves in offering the very best geodata to support all these public and private markets and help them make effective decisions. But it's our partners that bring this data to life through their innovative solutions. Many of these names you'll see will be MGAA supplier members, and they can assist you on your geodata adoption journey. Do please reach out. Our nuts and bolts, at the top right there, will give you hopefully the very best car in the market. The channel approach will vary and can be flexible depending on your needs. Some will provide our data in its very basic form. It could be a visualization tool for planning application, or maybe just a standard app. To some of the full solutions providers that manage digital geodata, blended with third-party data such as flood perils or similar organic content for an end-to-end solution. These can sometimes be customized or tailored to each end-user requirement. It could be flood data modeling or customer onboarding, maybe a bit of extra property insight. Some of those there, like Capgemini, PricewaterhouseCoopers, these will be major international players. They may not sell an end-to-end solution, but they can assist you on your journey and advise. They do know Ordnance Survey, so if you have come across them, please ask. Again, we expect many of these brands to have made an appearance across many of your business processes, even if not specifically for geodata, but as said, do ask them, they are familiar. If you've got a new idea, a particular issue or challenge you think that may help your business, a new line of underwriting, an important peril to assess, alternative customer base to target and educate, share it with the partners. I know they're all open to exploring opportunities with you, and several began life in something called the Geovation Hub. It's kind of a sandpit for all things OS data related, forging the very latest in geodata intelligence and the services that support. The data we capture and are responsible for, some very high-level stats here. As mentioned, over 600 million physical geographical features, properties, plots, boundaries, roads, rivers, fields, telegraph poles and pylons, you name it, we got it. Add to that 45 million addressing locations, not just residential and commercial, but occupancies without postal address and multiple occupancies, more on that in a bit. Over 250,000 kilometres of roads, the approximate distance of the entire GB network and all its facets, from signage to routing instruction. And the key, aerial imagery, refreshed every 18 months for the urban areas of Great Britain. For this, the majority of our data is captured and rendered as part of the public task. So the aerial imagery itself is not just captured by us and our two planes. We do combine third-party sources to ensure we meet the expected currency standards. I believe the suppliers are Blue Sky and Get Mapping. I'll have to check those. Add to that our surveyors. We've got 250 of them out and about the country, capturing more nuanced aspects of geodata capture, easy to spot with their surveying equipment and poking around new construction sites, do waves, say hi. Altogether, this results in 20,000 changes to physical geography of Great Britain every day, and it's all fed into that NGD. It's an unrivaled accuracy, 1 centimetre level for geocoded addressing, properties, walls and roads. So why does all this matter to you? Well, we highlight the need for safer insurance decisions. You need to know what's actually there, right? Now, I'm the first to stress OS doesn't engage in Google bashing. Street View is a wonderful tool that opens up a world of geospatial insight to millions of businesses around the globe. But daily and accurate capture is not necessarily their raison d'etre. Things will be missed, important things to you and to business functions like new builds, industrial sites and layouts, major utilities and public infrastructure and their addresses. Let's be honest, missing geodata can often mean lost time for you, your customers, and overall decision making. So a quick focus on the National Geographic Database itself, our crown jewels and woven into many of our partner solutions. It's split into 9 themes listed. No doubt you'll see an opportunity for all of them somewhere in your business, be it underwriting, claims management, or perils modelling. For the purposes of this session, we're just going to focus on the 2 big ones for insurance, buildings and address. But as always, do reach out to Ordnance Survey or our partners on any element should you have any questions. Our buildings data can potentially tell you so much about physical location. You may wish to know whether your portfolio of clients operate with nature buildings, a terrace, semi-detached, standalone. What have you got in your books at the moment? Do you know? What the building actually is, residential, commercial, kind of important. Mixed use perhaps, shop below a residential property, could be something like that. Is it for education? Is it a town hall, a power station, a museum? What about how old a building is and those around it? Does something post-2009 help with flood policies? Does an 18th century conversion pose more of a risk than a 21st century new build? Sort of a good question to ask, really, aren't they? Buildings with basement, flood risk, of course. Construction material buildings and those around, and its likely resilience. On the first, second, third floor, where are the customers based? Does that make a difference for storm, flood, fire risk? Not just, of course, the specific location you've chosen, but what's around it too. Proximity risk, always a big one. Features of a building are well and good, but you first need to find it, don't you? I'm betting many of your customers simply provide you with a simple address, postcode. These could likely be derived from Raw Mail and its postal address file, PAF. Raw Mail works in conjunction with OS, us being nominated resellers, one of many. We do provide all Raw Mail PAF information together with our much desired geocode location as part of your entry-level geocoded product, this one on the left, address space. The example you see here in the picture is Southampton University, just up the road from our HQ. You'll see Raw Mail has flagged this as a single addressable site, that blue dot in the middle. But we do need to go further for the sake of government. Our close working relationship with local authorities adds a further 5 to 6 million addresses that may sit outside Raw Mail's own remit of addresses that receive post. That's effectively what a PAF address is. Those could be the same town halls, power stations, schools and hospitals you wouldn't expect to receive the mail. In the case of the university, It's the listing of the separate outbuildings here and the faculties linked to the parent address. These are called the children or the multiple occupancies. Capture can be found in both Address-Based Core, that's another one of our products, and a little bit further in detail in Address-Based Plus. But you can go further still, and we often need to, don't we? The university example here has some alternative names to their buildings, such as the Robert Mitchell building. This is a vanity address. And some might have been demolished. Parts of the university might have been demolished and rebuilt recently. The older address record can be archived as a historical record and provide valued insight into a location. Universities are always expanding, aren't they? Several of these sites in red are new builds under construction, again possibly influential for Pell's model assessment, wider portfolio accumulation, and comprehension on imminent environmental impact, all things worth considering. The NGD capture, this most refined, updated daily, fed into the address theme daily. Address-based premium itself is updated every 6 weeks, but you can get a daily feed should you want it. Again, worth thinking about. So Ordnance Survey itself, we focus on Great Britain for nearly all of our capture. Address is the only exception, sort of. We have a close working relationship with Ordnance Survey Northern Ireland, the Isle of Man, and the other Crown dependencies, Jersey and Guernsey. It kind of enables us to provide full UK coverage to the same specification within NGD addressing. This means all the addresses within UK can be taken from one source, if desired, and for consistency, all geocode coordinates, records, and UPRNs will be formatted the same way as the mainland GB address. Sadly, we can't offer the same for contextual mapping, at the time being at least. It's all still GB only, but please do ask if you have ambitions for UK-wide coverage, as we do have close working relationships with all parts of the UK. We call this the TRI-OS agreement. I mentioned now a little special acronym, very important one though, the UPRN. This stands for the Unique Property Reference Number. It's unique to UK government, remains with an address throughout its life cycle, never changing even in demolition. We're seeing many of our partners adopt it for immediate address verification and validation and verification, especially regarding risk modelling, PELs such as flood or subsidence. Its early adoption in the property life cycle, sometimes up to 6 to 8 months before Royal Mail and at the point of land registry instruction, can offer and improve insight into a location or portfolio. And for the purposes of cross-referencing any address within a government department, as said, it is de facto standard. Department of Work and Pensions, VOA, HMLR, central local government departments use the UPRN. They'll know what you're talking about. It's managed by a sister outfit, GeoPlace, responsible for maintaining all the feeds from 380 local authorities up and down the UK, attributing the UPRN, combining and enhancing that Royal Mail path for the very best and most current understanding of address. That's not to say that just traditional postcode isn't of value. Ordnance Survey captures these as well, together with the boundaries. We call this series CodePoint, or actually CodePoint with polygons in this example. A simple postcode location is part of our open data. No, it's free, but premium CodePoint can offer exact postcode extents and the number of properties within each, so it could be of value. And it may be useful for the typical hotspot mapping, crimes and claim assessment, motor insurance underwriting, maybe some more complex high net worth lines as well. So bear it in mind. Now, this is where I think it gets particularly interesting. I've seen this happen more. It's the combination of the two principal data sets of addresses and buildings. What else could you derive to make a more informed commercial decision? Could it be the property location and its size and footprint, overall plot size, garden area, distance to main road, outbuilding count, nearest watercourse? Begin to see where our partners can start to add value, just taking that metadata and applying it to your needs. So, why does all this matter to you? Why do you care? Well, I'm going to assume that everyone on this webinar wants confidence in their decision-making whilst maximising the data and insight readily available. I quickly reviewed some of the pertinent headlines. I said it's not my specific background, but I do have a look every now and again. Seeping out from the industry, very much preaching to the choir here, I know. But things like the Financial Times noting that 1.5 million homes aim to be built under this government over the next 5 years, but only 5 million on flood defences, a bit concerning. Many proposed areas for construction could be prone to flooding, not great. Flood reinsurance scheme saw a drop in profit over 23-24, 23 million only compared to the previous 109 million, 131 million the year before that. It's resilient, but noticeable trend in claims. Proposal of individual action to prevent flood, this is interesting, and how this could help residential commercial building just by being a little bit more proactive, adding that personal proactive touch to your customers, complete with refined insights on the location. Interesting angle. In turn, such engagement can lead to improved customer retention, accumulation modelling, and seeding of policies into in discussion with the syndicates. The ABI itself made a statement that weather-related damage, so not just flood, hit 573 million in 2023, 36% higher in 2022. And I think that stat is going to trigger a range of personas we've been trying to look and reach out to from the industry, from underwriters to loss adjusters to more emerging climate change and risk data modeler titles that we're seeing making a bit of a statement at the moment. I spoke earlier about the traditional postcode and its role in risk modelling. I'll go out on a limb here and suggest most attending today will have moved beyond this to address level modelling. I hope you have. Identifying a specific property address and its location. This will help you differentiate your risk model approach to policy underwriting, ensuring an accurate assessment of the customer address. Great example, if address is on the top of the hill and wants nice things, but in the same postcode as one that's on the bottom of the hill near a regularly saturated floodplain, postcode's not going to work, is it? It's also not just the address itself, but what's going on around it. At a high level, you could look at storm surge activity in Skegness on the right there from several years back, where the entire town appeared to be impacted, both in terms of property and access. Remember what I said about blue light services? They kind of needed this. If you zoom down, beg pardon, into NGD property level detail, it might have been that the properties themselves were actually spared, and it was the roads impacted from most of the overflow of pipes or just the terrain itself. This may lend itself to a different type of Pell's model assessment. Business interruption perhaps comes up a bit. Could also be that the main site itself is fine, but important structure around it are impacted. I think we saw this recently with Heathrow, an electricity substation potentially impacted. That's a classic. But it could be other commercial sites with specific operations that pose greater fire risk, toxicity, other incendiary incidents. Finally, have you ever had a claim that you're just not sure about? Again, we've seen insurers and brokers use our data to better inform the process, investigate scenarios, and improve customer response times, all from geodata available on a desktop. Why not? It's there. So let's bring it to life, shall we? You know the address and its location. You bring forward the property attribution detail you want, height, footprint, plot size, etc. You don't necessarily want to view it like this, though. You may just want an answer, a quick insight. Is it going to flood? Yes or no? Is it going to be more than 3 stories? How many stories? Is the site a terrace or semi-detached? How far is the watercourse or main road? Simple geographic details that can be appended to that UPRN reference and the address itself. That's the intelligence in geointelligence, and it's what a lot of our partners are about in making your processes and location assessment just that little bit more detailed. I'll see it here, some examples. Something about reinstatement as well. That's quite often what we see with insurers. And the detail itself can just be appended to that UPRN for a simple CSV file solution. And at OS, we're always looking for new aspects of property capture to further fuel that NGD. This is only possible with feedback from sectors such as yours. In March this year, it was all about roof type, a key aspect for both insurance and lending decisions, especially with a climate environmental angle taking center stage. Our capture now includes comprehensive listing of solar panels, roof presence, roof material, is it slate, tile, roof aspect, roof shape, apex or flat, enhanced roof height, and access points further to assessment of mixed or commercial sites may prove beneficial ahead of any on-site inspection. Again, just saving a bit of time. This is across Great Britain and it's part of our regular daily update frequency. And finally, this is always an interesting slide. It was compiled some time ago, but it helps illustrate the effective use of geodata attribution, that metadata I spoke of. It's the rise of the aggregator site. I'm sure you all know them. Pre-population of questions and fluid customer onboarding, or know your customer. How many questions do you currently ask that you could use an accurate geodata for in the first instance? Could you pre-populate effectively? It's not to be an absolute definitive answer. Several aspects of capture will be a combination of surveying, imagery, a touch of AI as well. It's 2025. New technology isn't going away. We're going to embrace it. But what's strong enough? What's good enough initially? And would it prompt you to raise a flag to investigate further if you just happen to notice one of these questions was outside your remit? What questions are constantly asking of your portfolio and customers and you can't find immediately? Maybe we and the partners can help. Maybe government holds that data that we never thought to release, but if you don't ask, you don't get. Okay, let's hope this works. Let's have a quick demo and start to bring this to life a little bit.
Hello, I'm Robert Wingfield. I'm a Senior Geospatial Consultant at Ordnance Survey, and I support organisations in really maximising the value of OS data and services. It's great to join you today. I'm going to provide a short demonstration of the OS National Geographic Database. This is the address and the buildings themes and how this data can really be used to unlock exciting building intelligence. So I've got an area of Exeter on the map screen here, and I'm just going to load in our built address data as part of the NGD. So I'm then going to click on this address point here as an example, and straight away we have the UPRN, the unique property reference number, and that's very much acts as that golden thread through OS addressing data. You can link the UPRN to other parts of the NGD and to other data sets as well outside of Ordnance Survey. We then have in our addressing data the name and the postcode and the full address on a single line. Further to this, we also have the classification code as part of the attributes. In this particular instance, we're looking at a hotel. And then we've got a number of other attributes down here that describe, for example, parent-child relationships with regards to address, but also links to things like the unique street reference number, the USRN. So let's say we've got our NGD address data, and we now want to link that to our buildings data and to really unlock the powerful intelligence that's contained within it. Well, all we'll need to do is link the UPRNs to the OSID, that's the Ordnance Survey identifier within the buildings data, and there's a cross-reference table to do just that as part of the buildings data, an address to buildings cross-reference table. So if we then take a look at the buildings data, we can then really bring to life the wealth of intelligence that's available within the attribution. So if we take a look at this particular building here, we can then really bring that to life. So as I say, we've got this OSID, so that unique identifier for this particular building, and then we've got the geometry area meter squared, the footprint of the building. We have a simple description describing the building. This information comes from address. In this instance, we have a mid-terraced house. We then have a number of attributes describing linking across to other NGD parts of the NGD, including links to land use sites. And then we have a building use attribute describing residential accommodation here. And crucially, we have a link back to address here in a simple descriptor describing the number of addresses contained within this building. In this example, there's just the one. We then describe the connectivity of the building to other buildings. Is it semi-connected? Is it multi-connected? Is it end-connected? And in this instance, we've got a connectivity count of 2. We then describe the construction material, the building age, and the basement presence of the building. A lot of this data comes from Verisk, and you can see the wealth of additional metadata describing these attributes. For example, the capture method and the third-party provenance. Ordnance Survey also provides some data towards these attributes, as well as Verisk, one of our partners. We then describe the number of floors within the building. In this case, there are just 2 floors. And then we also describe the height of the building as well. Just a couple of months ago, we released new attribution around the roof. So understanding the primary material of the roof, whether there are solar panels or green roof presence on the roof. And then we also describe the shape of the roof, including the area that's facing certain directions, and then a confidence indicator against those. So I think that what's great here is that it's very much that analytical attribution describing, but then there's that metadata against this. You can really embed that into your modelling and into your use cases. And crucially, it's that UPRN providing that critical link from address data and to that building's data, so you really unlock that building's intelligence that you're seeing here on the right hand side. So hopefully that brings to life some of that, and please do reach out if you've got any questions. Really keen to support in maximising the value of this data for your use cases. Look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Thank you.
Always explains it much better than me, doesn't he? And always worthwhile. Said there's plenty more insight within our data, so please don't be shy in coming forward. So let's have a quick closing summary. You now know Ordnance Survey is much more than just pretty outdoor maps, but they are pretty, let's be honest. The National Geographic Database is the definitive source of geodata for Great Britain. Everything from addressing to buildings, updated daily, very important. Financial services is a key market sector for our geospatial data, from geocoded perils, assessment to location. But it's our reseller partners that bring that to life, and I can't stress that enough. And Rob even mentioned one there, Verisk. So do reach out to them and do ask questions and see what they can do. And also be sure to remember, it's not always looking at a map. It's the geodata, or geointelligence, that sits behind it. And we are still government at heart, and we're here to serve you. It's part of our public task. Do check some of our case studies on our website. And thank you very much for your time. And I believe we're now open to live Q&A.
Seamless transition.
So it would help if I had took myself off mute. So yeah, so thank you very much for going to the trouble of recording that for us. And this I can confirm is the real you.
Yeah.
In true style, as the theme of today, I do have some questions that we prepared earlier as well as the recording. So
of course.
I've checked in the chat and we've not got any questions at the moment, but that doesn't mean that people aren't typing away. So to get people thinking, I've got a couple of questions for you. So the first one is around flood data. And the question is, do the OS create their own flood data?
So no, we don't. So when I showed some of those examples there, the flood data comes from third parties. So we do work with some which are official partners like Twin and JBA, but you can also get the Environment Agency as well. So it's kind of like a layered approach. And that's where some of the other partners I mentioned really come to life. They will bring flood data in along with other perils data sets like subsidence and fire, some organic capture they may have. We purely provide the contextual mapping and the location addressing. But it's a worthwhile question to have, because sometimes when we illustrate these examples, people think we've got everything, like all the flood data, all the perils data, all these social demographic data. It's available. We just don't have it. We just bring it to life.
Thank you. And the other question I have refers to some using the land registry already as part of their risk assessment. Is the Ordnance Survey data the same?
It's a very good question, because a lot of people, particularly if they're working down to plot level, assume that there is a like-for-like match. And in most cases, there should be a like-for-like match. We captured things daily. So we've got surveyors out there, as I said, we've got the aerial imagery capture from both our own and third parties, because it's our mandate to capture things so regularly. Land registry will capture the legal extent, always legal extent. When you go to their business gateway and download a title plan, if you were to go to court, they would say that is the definite legal extent. But if you overlay them, you may see sometimes a little bit of a difference between our data and theirs. And that will be because maybe there's a hedgerow that's sprung up that just slightly changes the geometry of that plot. We will capture what we see, not necessarily what is written down as legal extent. However, a lot of the solutions providers will go out there and match the two anyway as part of a holistic solution. So when you are looking at a certain site and people want to know what the extent of ownership is versus the geographical extent, it's not uncommon for some of those partners I mentioned to source both. We do work together though. She's a sister agency, the Land Registry, and it's more part of Department of Innovation Skills. So we do have a close working relationship, and things like the UPRN would be adopted as part of their plots as well. So going back to that point about adopting the UPRN for that golden thread, you can use that in other government departments.
So yes, a big thank you to you, James, for a very interesting presentation and working with all the technical issues we were presented with.
Thank you for your patience as well.
And apologies for my inability.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be the last time we do this, but at least we always have backups, and like I said, saved you a bit of time for recording. But to anyone who was on the call as well, again, do reach out via the contacts that we have, and yes, also via our partners who are part of the MGA supply members as well. We're always there to help.
So yeah, so thank you very much, and thank you to everyone that attended.